So, have you ever wondered why earning a massive salary often leaves people feeling, well, completely broke? Today, we're diving right into this explainer to uncover an invisible trap that catches some of the smartest, hardest working people out there. We're going to break down the financial mistake most high earners just keep repeating, how it sneaks up on you, and absolutely most importantly, how to actually escape it.
All right, picture a Monday morning. Two totally different people are opening up their banking apps. First up, we've got person one. They're pulling in a very handsome 140 grand a year. They've got the luxury apartment, the brand new car, the designer wardrobe, the whole shebang. But as they open that app, they feel this visceral knot in their stomach because payday is still 11 days away. Now contrast that with person two. They make just $54,000 a year. They drive a perfectly fine 2019 Honda, live modestly, maybe even have a cracked phone screen. Yet when they check their app, quiet confidence, no mental math, no panic.
Now, what's really wild about this is the actual gap in their bank balances. Our high earner has a grand total of $800 to stretch over those next 11 days. Meanwhile, the modest earner, they're sitting on $47,000 in savings and investments. Same economy, same country, one is earning nearly 3 times more, but the person earning less has built the level of financial security the high earner is literally desperate for. And you know, this isn't about luck or some secret trust fund. It's actually about a deeply normalized psychological trap.
We call this the high earner paradox. And the painful truth is that for a lot of folks, the harder they work, the deeper this trap gets. Here's the kicker though. The high earner isn't even being reckless. They're not gambling their money away or doing anything obviously destructive. Actually, they're just doing exactly what society told them to do. Work hard, earn more, buy the rewards. The apartment, the car, it all feels like evidence of success, right? It feels like progress. But that is exactly what makes the trap so incredibly effective.
Section 1. 2 invisible psychological traps. Let's look at the unseen enemies that are quietly draining your accounts.
So the first trap is a psychological concept called hedonic adaptation. Think of it as this automatic recalibration happening in your brain. Let's say you get a raise. The apartment that felt incredibly luxurious when you were making $60K, suddenly it feels completely ordinary when you hit $90K. The upgraded car just becomes your new baseline. You're essentially putting yourself on an internal treadmill where the speed just keeps increasing, but you're not actually moving forward. Every new luxury basically becomes a necessity within a matter of months. And this brilliantly illustrates the real-world impact of that treadmill. Researchers consistently find something fascinating. People earning $300,000 frequently report the exact same levels of financial stress as those making $80,000. No way, right? But the number on the paycheck changes drastically, while the feeling of scarcity never does. The finish line, that elusive feeling of finally having enough, it just keeps moving just fast enough that you never quite reach it.
But hedonic adaptation is really only half the story. The second layer of this trap is social comparison. As humans, we're literally wired to measure our financial situation not by absolute numbers, but relative to the changing peer group around us. And here's what happens. As your income grows, your peer group inevitably changes. You get a fancy new job title, new colleagues, a new social circle. Suddenly, you're surrounded by people with bigger homes and much more expensive tastes. And without you even consciously deciding to, your brain just accepts their expensive lifestyle as your new normal that you now need to match. Let's jump back to 18th century philosopher Denis Diderot to see exactly how this builds. Researchers actually called this the Diderot Effect. The story goes, Diderot received this beautiful scarlet robe as a gift. And it was so incredibly nice that his old chair suddenly looked completely out of place, so he bought a new chair. But then, well, he needed a new desk to match the chair, and then a new rug. One single gift of a scarlet robe triggered a relentless cascade of matching upgrades until his entire life was completely rearranged. This is exactly why high earners overspend. Hedonic adaptation and social comparison are quietly pulling the strings, getting you to spend more and constantly upgrade.
Section 2. The minimalist secret. Let's talk about escaping this exhausting upgrade cascade.
Now, I want to be totally clear here. In this context, being a minimalist is not an aesthetic choice. You definitely don't need to sleep on a mattress on the floor or give up things that genuinely bring you joy, or restrict yourself to owning exactly 47 items. In fact, lots of minimalists are high earners themselves. Instead, minimalism here is simply a firm, predetermined psychological boundary. It's an internal rule that you set for yourself.
So the crucial point boils down to this single, really powerful decision. Minimalists decided in advance what constituted genuine satisfaction. They defined exactly what kind of home, what car, and what level of comfort met their actual needs, rather than what was needed for, social performance. And then they just stopped there. They defined enough before lifestyle pressure could define it for them.
When you set that immovable internal standard, it's a total game changer because you break both psychological traps at the exact same time. Hedonic adaptation loses its pull completely because you've already drawn the line and committed to holding it. Social comparison gets neutralized because you stop measuring yourself against this ever-moving external scoreboard. And honestly, the absolute best part is that every income increase or raise you get above that enough line, it converts directly into savings and freedom rather than just funding lifestyle expansion.
Section 3, the math of enough. Let's see how this actually transforms your financial trajectory over time.
All right, let's look at the actual math and compare two people who both earn $120,000. Earner A never defined their enough. So over time, lifestyle creep absorbed every single raise, and now they're spending $110,000 a year, saving just $10,000. Earner B, on the other hand, defined their enough at $60,000 of annual spending years ago. Regardless of their income growth, they never ever moved that line. Because of that boundary, they're saving $60,000 every single year.
Fast forward 10 years, and the difference is mind-blowing. Assuming decent market returns, our first earner, who let psychology and social comparison run their finances, has about $150,000 saved up. But look at earner B. The minimalist who defined enough has crossed $800,000. Same exact income, same decade. The only difference is that one made a conscious decision to override those psychological defaults, while the other just let them run the show. Ultimately, earner A built a slightly bigger life, but earner B built an exit. And this brings us to a really profound realization. The goal was never really to just earn more money. The goal was always to have more freedom, more security, and more choices. Somewhere along the line, a bigger income got confused with a better life. And as we've clearly seen, that confusion is incredibly expensive. True financial freedom isn't about earning more, it's about wanting less than you're capable of affording.
So before your next raise, before your next promotion quietly raises your expectations without your permission, I want to leave you with this question to ponder. Ask yourself honestly, right now, without comparing yourself to your colleagues or your LinkedIn network, what actually makes your daily life feel full, comfortable, and sufficient? Write that number down, protect it like a decision you've already finalized, and let everything above it buy your freedom. Seriously, what is your enough?